somebody that's been educated by Wilderness Society propaganda, and I'm glad to see that he has a focus on ecological things. So maybe he'll be able to support me when I stand here, Mr. Speaker, and be the voice of one of, or a couple of our very iconic marine species, our dugongs and our turtles. And maybe he can assist us in organising to get together a national turtle and dugong protection plan, something that's been neglected by the Labor Party for far too long. It would be great to save these wonderful natural wonders, preserve these creatures so that our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren may actually have the opportunity to be able to see one and know that they actually exist in the flesh. On October the 7th in Abu Dhabi at the Convention for the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals, it was stated that the dugong is expected to face extinction globally within the next 40 years. It's estimated that over 2,000 of these beautiful creatures are being killed in Queensland waters alone. And, but you know, what's happening up there, they've already started to face extinction. You've got other areas, there's around the world that we're starting to see this in Mauritius, in Taiwan, in Straits of Indonesia, and many other parts of the world. The dugong has already suffered local extinction, and it's going to happen in this area unless something is done, and it has to be done at a national level, because the threats and the challenges of these magnificent species, it's going to end up that we're going to have another Tasmanian tiger on our hands. And during the last election, Greg Hunt, our shadow for environment, came into my electorate and, recognising the threats and the challenges, announced a $2.6 billion program to start to look at dealing with the challenges of these animals, $1 million towards marine debris clearance, and also setting up a program where we start to actually know what we're dealing with with our dugongs, because unfortunately there is absolutely no idea of the numbers that are available, or the numbers that are there at the moment. There has been no census done on these creatures, and working with traditional owners and not working with propaganda, dealing with facts, I'm sure we can actually get to a number, understand exactly the status of these animals. And so it's very, very important that we start to do this, and if we don't start, we need to first of all put a moratorium in place that stops the taking of these creatures, so that it gives us an opportunity, and use traditional knowledge, use traditional people in their areas to work with the scientists to get a very accurate census of the numbers of these animals. Because if we don't do this now, Mr. Speaker, we're going to also be robbing our traditional people of an opportunity to participate in one of their native title rights, because these animals will be disappearing in the not too distant future. There are people that have been out there calling for support, and at this stage I'd like to recognise particularly James Epong, a traditional and Indigenous leader from the south of Cairns area, who's been doing a lot of work in this area, and his group has already put in a ban on the taking of dugongs, and is very, very keen to participate in a census of these creatures. You've got other people there like Colin Riddell, a good friend of mine in Cairns, who has now for a long time been putting a lot of pressure on the government, trying to get them to start to act on doing something there. Bob Irwin, a good friend of mine who I've known for probably 30-odd years. I admired him for Wills as I knew his son when he left school. So I know the family very, very well. Bob's been 100% behind this. And Darren Hinch, of course, somebody from Melbourne as well, who's also a keen environmentalist but deals in facts. So I'm certainly, I appreciate with the member for Ryan, Jane Prentice, also was talking on it today, and of course Greg Hunt, and I joined the Shadow Environment Minister in calling for a national dugong and turtle protection plan. If we don't start to do something now, we don't put that moratorium on, don't start doing the numbers now, there will be no dugongs and no turtles to count in another 30 or 40 years, and I'll tell you, Australia will be a much sadder place for loss of these most magnificent creatures.
The member for Hindmarsh.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I'd like to congratulate the South Australian Veterans Touring Group on their work